Yo, what's going on guys? It is Cynnnical and welcome back to another episode of my top 5 hopes for Kingdom Hearts 3, a series where I go through and list my personal hopes for the upcoming Kingdom Hearts 3. Also, in case you guys haven't already, be sure to check out the previous episodes. As you guys can see on screen right now, you can click the pictures that correspond to that particular episode. Otherwise guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video and let's get on with it. So forever I've wanted an autosave feature in Kingdom Hearts. I think that most of you guys can agree with me on this one as well. I mean, how many times have you played Kingdom Hearts and, ooh, damn, your game crashes, or perhaps the power went out and you haven't saved for the past 5 to 10 hours. It can be excruciatingly painful. So I really want Square Enix to go ahead and just implement a really simple autosave feature. Although this is a really sort of smaller and minor hope for the game, it would cause so much less frustration and anger on those very sort of rare occasions where your game sort of crashes or your power goes out. But it's really nice to know that your console is, you know, every so often saving your game for you, just in case you decide not to do so yourself. 60 frames per second. Alright, so it might seem like I'm sort of nitpicking here, and trust me when I say this, I am not a quote-unquote FPS whore. And for the people who are out there who don't know what FPS means, FPS stands for frames per second. Basically, the more frames that you have running on the game, the smoother the game will be. But honestly, for me personally, you know, I don't really care what the FPS is for games, as long as the game runs smoothly, you know, it's not stuttery, it's not laggy. I really couldn't give a flying shit what FPS the game runs at. However, now that we're in a new generation of consoles, obviously games that are getting developed these days are entering the whole 60 frames per second era, which is a new thing for consoles because, well, really since forever, consoles have run at 30 frames per second. I know that there are sort of like, you know, the odd game that would sort of release that would come out at 60 frames, but it was very rare to see that on consoles. But now that we're on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, yes, games these days are entering the 60 frames per second era. Now this has always been a thing for PCs, so like I mentioned, this is a thing for consoles. And because of the fact that Kingdom Hearts 3 is obviously going to be a console release, I'm sort of hoping for 60 frames per second. Now, that might not make sense from the comment I made earlier on saying I don't really care about 60 frames, but however, recently I've sort of been tinkering around with Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts 2, and Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, all modding them to run at 60 frames per second, and I have to admit guys, Kingdom Hearts looks absolutely freaking beautiful and feels so good when it's running at 60 frames per second. Action RPG games feel so damn nice when they run at 60 frames. I believe that the God of War 3 remaster's coming out. It might already be out on the next or on PlayStation 4, my bad. And obviously that game is running at 60 frames per second. Now that is of course an action game, so an action RPG, but it uses sort of combat similar to Kingdom Hearts in the real-time combat sense. And I have to say that real-time combat games running at more frames than 30 feels really nice, and it feels like you have more control over the character. I know it seems like a nitpick, but I would really appreciate and really enjoy 60 frames per second running on Kingdom Hearts 3. Of course, we're also in an era where DLC is an absolute major thing. DLC is pretty much included inside of every single game that we receive these days. Obviously, downloadable content, digital downloads, add-ons towards games that we can buy on a sort of marketplace like the PlayStation Network or the Xbox Live Store. So of course Kingdom Hearts has really never been a game where we have sort of DLC, you know, downloadable add-ons towards the game, mainly due to the fact that Kingdom Hearts has never really been on a platform where you can sort of download add-ons and get DLC. Now I know Kingdom Hearts has been on the 3DS, which can receive DLC and add-ons, and it's also been on the PSP, which can sort of do the same thing. But really, when you think about it, do you actually think that Square Enix would release DLC and downloadable add-ons, digital add-ons for Dream Drop Distance and Birth by Sleep? Of course not. But because of the fact that Kingdom Hearts 3 is a main entry title, and it's obviously getting released on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, two systems that have a ton of different digital downloads, it would definitely make sense for Square Enix to go ahead and obviously introduce Kingdom Hearts to DLC and digital downloads. And what better way to do that than to introduce DLC spin-offs? I made a whole entire completely separate video talking about DLC spin-offs, but I wanted to add it into this because I did that video so long ago. I think that making sort of side stories as a DLC sort of story mode or campaign, introducing, you know, maybe 2 new stories, sort of mini stories over the course of maybe a year or 2 years, would definitely keep the game fresh by adding this sort of new content. Perhaps it would tell the story of, you know, maybe Ventus throughout the story arc of Kingdom Hearts 3, and the other one might sort of, I don't know, tell the story of Aqua or Riku. I think it'll just be a really cool way of, rather than implementing sort of, I suppose you could say, spin-offs as a physical copy, they could just add them in as little sort of bonus sort of side mini stories. And I think that'll be a really cool idea, because I know that a lot of different games get sort of, you know, extra campaigns and stuff like that through the use of DLC and digital add-ons. Another thing that I've been recently thinking about to implement with inside of Kingdom Hearts 3 is a New Game Plus mode. Now, New Game Plus modes have appeared within many different games. 2 that are on the top of my head are obviously Ratchet and Clank, and I suppose you could say Bloodborne, which is a recent release. So I would love a sort of New Game Plus mode to be, you know, obviously implemented within inside of Kingdom Hearts 3. It would most certainly add extra in-game replay value and just replay value in general to, you know, to the game. Now, how this New Game Plus mode would work is obviously you would run through the normal new game where you just go through the story and stuff, and if you want to do the extra stuff at the end, that's up to you to gain a few levels ahead for New Game Plus mode. You'll enter New Game Plus mode, and then with inside of New Game Plus mode, obviously there are harder enemies and stuff like that. Perhaps the Keyblades that you get with inside of the New Game Plus mode is like, say for instance, you acquire the Star Seeker, but in New Game Plus mode, it would be called the Star Seeker Plus. And obviously you would keep your levels and experience and items that you acquired with inside of the normal new game to carry on over with inside of the New Game Plus mode. It just really adds, like I mentioned, more replay value onto the game, and it keeps the game alive for longer, adding newer and crazier sort of challenges. Also a great way to sort of, I suppose you could say, convince players to go through New Game Plus mode is to add some sort of special bonus, you know, at the end of completing New Game Plus. Perhaps like an extra, you know, New Game Plus mode only sort of secret boss, a special Keyblade of some sort, a special maybe secret movie like Square Enix usually do. I'd love to see this happen, so Square Enix, please do it. And lastly, Pixar films entering the Kingdom Hearts universe. So for years and years and years and years, as fans of the series, we have absolutely cried out and begged for different Pixar movies to make it inside of Kingdom Hearts to be obviously playable worlds. And of course, one of the most popular is, well, obviously Toy Story. And Toy Story has, in the past, obviously, through the different history that we've scavenged through, it's tried to make its way inside of Kingdom Hearts before, as Woody and Buzz being summoned to Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, as well as even a sort of recently discovered Toy Story world for a very early sort of stage of Kingdom Hearts 1. But however, now that the legal issues are all sort of cleared up between Disney and Disney Pixar, it means that Square Enix can make Pixar films and Pixar worlds possible for Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, even if it's just one Pixar, you know, film making it into Kingdom Hearts 3, I really wouldn't mind. Ultimately, I would love it to be Toy Story, because Toy Story would be an absolute joy to play through, so many creative ideas. But I'd also like to see, you know, like Monsters Inc., WALL-E, as well as like Bugs Life. There's a ton of different Pixar films that would make absolutely incredible and beautiful worlds for Kingdom Hearts 3, so I only hope that Square Enix make the decision to obviously add those Pixar films into the game. Well guys, that is another episode of my personal top 5 hopes for Kingdom Hearts 3. Keep in mind, these episodes are in no particular order as far as, you know, the ordering goes in these videos. But however, hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video. Be sure to list your hopes and desires for Kingdom Hearts 3 in the comment section below. Did you like any of sort of my hopes for the game? Let me know. Otherwise guys, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.